Hey guys, thanks for checking in today. We're going to start our class today down on the mat, obviously. So work your way down. We're also going to be using the red ball for part of the class. So if you've got one, just make sure you've got that set. Okay, so we're going to get started right away. I want you to sit down on your mat with your legs crossed. And if this is uncomfortable for your hips, like it is for me, an option is to diamond your legs. So you've got your feet together in the front. It takes a little bit of the pressure out of the hips, but that's an option. I'm gonna cross because I know I need some work on that area and hopefully get stretched out today. So find a comfortable seat, whether it's diamond or crossing your legs, and then just lift up nice and tall. Also note which leg is in front because we're gonna switch that in a little bit. But we usually pick our most comfortable one first. Anyway, so we're gonna sit tall, let your shoulders relax, bring your hands just lightly to your knees, and we're gonna do some breathing. So I want you to take a big breath in through your nose. Picture your rib cage expanding as you inhale. And then as you exhale, feel the belly lift, feel the rib cage kind of draw together in the front. Let's do a couple more, inhale. And then exhale. We're going to continue to sit tall. We're going to just stretch into the backs of our necks. So let your chin come toward your chest. Just feeling the release in the back of the neck a little bit. Shoulders are relaxed. They're kind of reaching down away from your ears. And then we're going to raise our faces back up. And then bring the chin back to the chest again. Let it hang. And then lift. And then one more time. Bring it down. And just pause here for a second. So feel the weight of your head just kind of pulling it forward. We're trying not to let it pull our bodies forward though. And then with this forward position of the head, we're going to let it sway side to side. So think of an arc. You're not actually lifting it and turning it from side to side. You're just letting it sort of swing. And maybe you can start feeling it release into the tops of the shoulders as you go side to side. Let it be heavy. Maybe it's getting a little bit lower with each sweep of the head. Let's work our way back to center and lift our faces up and roll the shoulders back. Okay, we're gonna switch our legs. So if you've got them diamond, that's fine. If you are crossed, put your other leg in front and then kind of readjust yourself. You might have to move your butt out of the way. Anyway, get up tall on those sits bones. And then we're gonna let our shoulders relax. So we've done some forward flexion with our necks. Now I want you to focus on rotation. So sitting up tall, we're gonna turn our heads to the side. Try to keep your chin tracking on a parallel line. And then we're gonna come back to the other side, or horizontal line. And then back through center. Keeping the chest open, sitting as tall as you can. Maybe you're feeling your hips start to release a little bit. They might be cramping a little too. If they are, just make an adjustment. You can change the foot position. You can always bring them out in front of you. Let's go one more to each side. And then back to center. We're gonna switch the cross of our legs again. Let the knees open out, lift up tall. Now this time bring your hands down to your mat. So we're gonna raise, I'm going to raise my left, you guys raise your right. Raise your right arm up, side bend over. Try to keep your opposite hip down on the mat. Lifting your spine, come up, take it down, we're gonna switch. Okay, so left arm comes up, reaches, side bend over to the right, keep your left hip down. So bend your spine. We're gonna try not to lean, keep that hip anchored. So we have a starting point for the flexion of the spine. And then I'm gonna come back up, we're gonna do that again. Raise, side bend over. Your hand on the mat, just let that arm bend. Lift up tall, and then let's switch once more. Up and over, side bending. Pressing your left hip down into the mat. And then lift up, bring it down. Roll the shoulders a little bit. One more time, change the legs. Almost ready to be done with this. Okay, sit up tall, shoulders down. Okay, so now we're gonna rotate. You're gonna lift up your right arm, take it across your left leg and twist. So use it as kind of an assist for some resistance. And then just turn your spine. Again, we're trying to keep our hips down. So once the spine is as far as it'll go, then turn your head and look back over that left shoulder. And then we're gonna untwist, come back to center. Take the left arm across to the right leg. Lift up tall and rotate. Keep twisting. Twist your body, twist your rib cage, then take your head, trying to keep that chin level. Great, untwist. Come back through center once more to each side. Reach it across. Use your back arm for like a little kickstand, and then twist. Take your head. Look over your left shoulder. Come on back through center, and switch one more time. Lift up tall, and rotate. And then back to center and reset. Now take your legs out in front of you. We're gonna work the ankles a little bit. If you can, sit up on those sits bones. Try it, get up nice and tall. It may mean bending your knees a little bit, that's okay. So we're gonna work our ankles. So we're gonna point and flex our feet. So instead of doing the footwork standing, we're gonna sit today. And then just work through a nice range of motion. And now we're gonna alternate. So one is pointed, one is flexed. Continuing to sit tall, get your cores engaged. And let's bring our feet back to center. And I want you to scrunch up your toes and then spread them out. And then scrunch them up. And spread them out. Once more. And spread them out. Okay, you're gonna raise your arms up to the ceiling, sit up nice and tall, and then bend your spine forward. So wherever it goes, don't force the range of motion. And then let your arms continue down toward the legs and toward the floor. And then just hold on wherever your hands land. So that might be feet, ankles, calves, thighs, wherever that is for you today. And let your head be heavy. Let your head start to hang down. Not unlike that stretch we just did when we were seated. Just let it be heavy. And then wherever you're holding, do a gentle pull. See if you can get a little bit more stretch there. Take a big breath in, filling up your back. And a full exhale, drawing the belly in, away from your legs. Inhale again, feel your back expand. Exhale, feel your belly lift. And we're going to let go of where we're holding, and we're going to roll ourselves up and roll the shoulders. Okay, I want you to bend your left leg and reach your right arm across. We're adding one more rotation. Lift up tall. This is going to be a nice hip stretch. So we're going to rotate over to the left, just like we did, but now we're pulling against that leg. So we're getting a little bit more stretch in the hip. I want you to think of lifting your spine up, rotating it, and then turn your head, look back over your left shoulder. And then untwist, and let's switch. Try it in. Take your left arm around. Lift up tall. Rotate to the right. Twist. Look back over your right shoulder. And then come to the center and roll the shoulders. Okay, we're staying on the mat and we're gonna get the red ball. If you don't have a red ball, or if you have one of another color, that's okay. You can use a towel, pillow, whatever works for you today. You can do it, certainly do it without it. Like I always say, that disclaimer, right? You don't have to have the ball. We're gonna put it at our thighs and we're gonna scoot forward so our feet are at the edge of our mats. We're gonna start reaching into our low backs now. We've done some rotation, so now we're gonna do some flexion where we let the hips roll under us and then we roll right back up. I like to start with the ball in here because if you give it a squeeze, you're gonna fire up the muscles in the inner thighs and then that stops us from rolling to the outside. Typically that muscle group's a little bit weaker than our outers. All right, we're gonna roll back and hold. Shoulders draw down. Raise the right arm up toward your ear. Lower it back down, reset, and now the left. And let's bring our bodies forward and up. We're gonna do that again. We're gonna start with the left. Left up and down. And then the right. And forward. Right again. Left. And then left. We're gonna go roll back to where we were. Okay, so find a spot where you feel your core working, but you're not really falling back. And with control, we're gonna roll the hips under us and start to roll down, but we're not going all the way. Find a spot where you're really working, and then you've gotta be able to get yourself back up. and then sit up tall. So start with the low back reaching toward the mat. See where you can go, knowing you can get back up. And then lift. Keep a squeeze on the ball. That's really going to help. Get some work for the muscles around the hips. 3. Okay, we're taking it back and holding. Shoulders are down. Okay, that arm sequence we were doing, we're going to do both arms at the same time. So we're going to raise up. Do not let the arms start to pull you back toward the mat. So you find a range. It's almost as if your chest is reaching forward as the arms move back. And then we're going to lower. We're staying here. Squeeze the ball. Good job. One more time. Hold it. We're going to go back an inch. Hold. Arms open to the sides and come to the front. Now, if going back an inch was too much for you, you're feeling your feet start to lift off the mat, just take your body forward. 2 more. Don't lose a squeeze on the ball. Arms stay forward. Pull that belly in. Roll forward. Lift and bring your arms down. Okay, we're going to put both feet on the ball and stretch the legs out. Okay, so we need to be careful here that we don't hyperextend our knees down toward the mat. So you want to keep a little engagement around the knee area. So imagine that you're squeezing the legs toward each other. And I have my heels off the front of the ball. That's where I want to start. Okay, so we're taking our arms out to the front again, pull the abs in, and then we're going to roll our hips back kind of to that spot where we just were. So we feel the core working, we've got the legs extended, and then bodies stay. And we're going to bend the knees and roll the ball in. And I'm just going till my heels or maybe the arches of my feet are on top of the ball, and I'm going to roll it back out. Keep the knees together. So when we do that, we establish the midline of the body so that we know we're working equally on each side. Couple more. Now take the legs out, hold, pull the belly in. We're going to come forward and up, roll back. Keep the legs extended, and we're going to do some little curls forward. We're not coming all the way up, but challenge yourself on that back range. Maybe you can go back a little farther. And yeah, the ball's rolling around a little bit. That's okay. Just try to stay centered. Try to keep the legs pulling toward each other. Maybe you can go a little farther. Just want to stay connected down here. Okay, one more time. And then come all the way up. Okay, we're going to do a little combo. Okay, so we're going to start with the legs in, knees are together, and we're going to roll back and extend, and then we're going to pull forward and up. Pull the knees in, try to keep the feet tracking in line with the hips. A lot of hip flexor work. Good thing we stretched them out in the beginning. Okay, let's do 2 more. Hold your body here. Take the legs out. We're going to roll ourselves all the way down to the mat. Pull the abs in. Roll the hips under you. Yeah, and then arms up and over for a nice big stretch here. We're going to keep our legs on the ball. Take your arms to the ceiling and then bring them down to the mat. Turn your arms so your palms are on the mat, and then just stretch your arms along your side. Okay, from here, we're going to scoot the ball to the ankle, like back behind the right ankle, like where the Achilles tendon is. And then we're going to take our left knee into tabletop and just pause here for a second. So we want to focus again on keeping the muscles around the knee engaged so we're not hyperextending the knee. The pelvis is in neutral and the arms are along our sides. I want you to think about the back of your rib cage for a second, back where the back ribs and shoulder blades are. We're kind of dropping that down to the mat to help stabilize us because we've got the instability from the red ball. Okay, we're going to stretch our left leg to the ceiling. Just pause. Relax your shoulders. The left leg is coming across the body to the right, and then it's going to pull through center and over to the left. So this is that pendulum movement. We're going to try to stay still through the hips and the foot on the ball. Leg is extended, that right leg stretching. Shoulders relax, mine were not. Let's go 3 more to make it 8. 2. One more. And then back to center. All right, now we're gonna bend the right knee and roll the ball in. And then we're gonna roll the ball back out. The ball is tracking right in line with your hip. So think of the heel, right heel, pulling the ball to the right hip. 2 more like that. Keep your left leg stretching to the ceiling. Now we're gonna extend the leg out. Now here comes a little combo. Lower the left leg down, roll the ball in, and then reverse. So stay light through your legs, even the one that's on the ball. Work through the core. Shoulders relax. And keep breathing. 3 more for 8. Okay, right leg stays out. We're gonna bend the left knee into our chest. Get a nice stretch. Now keep your right hand on your left shin, left arm along your side, and just take the leg across your body over to the right, just for a little stretch. My elbow is definitely not on the mat. So you don't have to make a huge rotation. Also careful of that right knee. We don't want it to hyperextend. Okay, back to center. And then we're gonna do a little switch. So put the ball under the left ankle, Achilles area. And then let your right knee come into tabletop for a sec. Okay, so we can get ourselves centered again. Might take a little adjusting. Abs are in. And then we're gonna stretch that right leg to the ceiling. I gotta move a little. Okay. And stretch that leg. And then the right leg is gonna lower and lift. No, it's not. It's gonna do pendulum. Take it across and back over. I forgot my sequence. Well, we got 2 bonus lowers and lifts. Try to stay steady. 3. Okay, then back to center. The right leg stays reaching to the ceiling. The left leg is stretching out. Lighten up your left foot and roll the ball in, and then bring it back out. So the ball is pulling in toward the hip. Shoulders relax. Core is stabilizing here. Okay, little pause here. So as we roll the ball in, we lower and lift. If you need to readjust your foot on the ball, that's okay. We're gonna do 1 more. And lift. Now bend your right knee into your chest, reach for your shin. Pull it in, get a nice stretch. So your left hand stays on your right shin, right arm along your side. And then we're moving it over to the left, just to stretch out the hip. And bring it back to center. Now we're gonna roll the ball in and then hold on to it, put it at your thighs, and bring your feet to the mat. Okay, so that was some hip flexor work. So we're gonna stretch those out now with some hip extension as we go into bridge. So as always, we're gonna set our pelvis in neutral, bring our arms along our sides, palms down, chest open, shoulders relaxed, and then get a stretch into the back of your neck, not jamming your chin down into your chest, but just lengthening back there. We're gonna squeeze the ball. If you don't have a ball, it's okay. And you know, I thought of another prop you could use if you've got a yoga block. That might work in this situation. All right, so we're gonna let the pelvis roll and lift. And now we're gonna get a nice big stretch. Knees and shins reach forward, glutes are engaged. We're trying not to overarch up here in the rib cage. So imagine it sort of drawing together and dropping down. So you've got this diagonal going from the shoulder through the hip out through the knees, and then you're gonna roll yourself back down. Come to neutral and then back up. And then down, a couple more like that. Feel the abdominals kind of stabilizing as you go through this range. And the next time we're in bridge, we're gonna hold. Okay, we're squeezing the ball. We're gonna get a little work for the glutes. So instead of rolling the spine down one vertebra at a time, which we usually do, I want you to think of the spine as one long piece. And where you're gonna fold is right where the leg attaches in at the hip. So the spine stays long, and that hip crease, we're just dropping it down. We're not gonna take the butts all the way to the mat, and then we're gonna press back up. So it's kind of like we're folding right here where my hands are. And we're not trying to overarch at the rib cage. We're squeezing the ball and pressing up. So as you start going through this movement, check in with your feet. We want to make sure that the big toes are pressing down. And now check in with your inner thighs. We're squeezing the ball as we drop the hips and press back up. Let's do 4 more. We're gonna stay at the top here, stay at the top. Squeeze your glutes, press down into your feet, stretch your legs. I want you to inhale, release the squeeze of the ball a little bit. And then exhale, full exhale. Feel your abdominals engage and squeeze that ball like you wanna pop it. Inhale, release. And exhale, squeeze. Keep going, do a few more of these. If you don't have the ball, just keep your feet anchored and keep your knees in line with your hips and work on the breath. So when I do this exhale, I feel my lower abdominals kind of scooping from hip bone to hip bone. It's like I'm trying to draw the belly in and up with each exhale. Now we're going to squeeze the ball and hold. And now we go into the rolling. Roll your spine down. You can release the ball a little bit, enough to keep it in there. We're gonna raise our heels and then let the knees come in toward our chest. Reaching for our shins or behind the thighs if that's too much flexion on the knee. Always be careful of that. We don't wanna put too much pressure on the knees. And each day is a little bit different, so you decide where you are that day. Okay, we're coming back to center. We're gonna take the ball out. We might be done with it for the day. Okay. So while we're here on our backs, let's straighten our legs out. Just get a nice stretch there. And then take the arms up overhead for a nice full body stretch. Hold on to your left wrist with your right hand and side bend over to the right. So here's our side flexion again. You're gonna stretch your left leg longer than the right to get some length on the left side. And then let's reset in the middle. And change your hands. Hold the right wrist. Side bend to the left. Stretch your right leg longer. And then back to center. Okay, since our hands are back here, we're gonna stack them and put them back behind our heads, elbows out to the sides. We're not gonna do a full roll up yet or a full ab sequence yet, but what I wanna do is kind of get some chest lifts and start working through our upper backs. So the legs are gonna squeeze together. We're gonna bring our chins toward our chest. Think of lengthening the backs of your necks. And then lift the chest up. So you're kind of looking down the length of your body. And then just pause here for a second. So let's do a little flex point of the ankles. Point the feet and then roll your shoulders and heads back down. Let's do that again. So we stretch the back of our necks. We lift our chests up. Get set. Pelvis is in neutral. And then we point and flex. Let's point and let's alternate. Flex, point, flex, point. Working that core still. Point both feet and then roll back down. Let's go one more time. Lift. Shoulders are down, arms are supporting our heads. And then we're going to keep this flexion. Start to bend your knees, make your feet light and come up into tabletop. Now reach toward your shins, flexing your spine. We're gonna keep our flexion. Keep your legs where they are. We're gonna take our arms toward our ears and then pull back. and arms toward the ears. Pull back toward the shins. One more. Arms and shins. Now, take your hands, put them back behind your head. Take your legs away from your body, pull them back in. Take them away and pull them back in. Keep your flexion. Take them away, pull back in, hold here. Hands go to the shins, both arms and legs. We reach back, we pull in. Don't lose your flexion. So you're not letting your head and shoulders come back down to the mat. We're only going to do 2 more. Hang on, 2. And 1, pull all the way in. Take your shoulders and heads down, and then get a little side rock. Let's take our bodies to the center. Keep your knees into your chest, and let your head roll over to the right. Relax your shoulders. Let's just stretch into the neck. That one always, towards the end, always starts pulling in my neck. I think it's because the arms go back overhead. If that happens to you, you can always keep your hands back behind your head, supporting it for that sequence. And then back to center. Okay, guys, we're going to try some roll-ups from here. So let's bring our feet to the mat, straighten them out. Let's start with our hands along our sides. So this is always another option, depending on how you're feeling today with your roll-up. We'll see if we can do it. Our shoulders are relaxed. The legs are squeezing together. We've got our cores engaged. It's almost as if you're trying to press your low back down into the mat. So chins toward the chest. We start to roll ourselves up. You can use your arms as a little assist here and let your hands track along your legs as you round forward, reaching. We're just going to do a little pause here, stretch the low back. Now, instead of sitting up tall from here, we're going to keep this round spine, round position, and roll ourselves right back down. So I'm looking at my body as I pass. So I'm kind of looking at my belly, and now I'm looking back at the ceiling. Let's try that again. Chins toward the chest. Start your roll up. Press your body down into the mat. You can use your arms if you're stuck. Round forward, hands tracking along your legs. Little pause, and we're going to keep that round spine and take it back down. You can continue with that arm position, or you can raise them up to the ceiling, or you can take them overhead. So we're going to do a couple more. Go at your pace. I'll try not to talk. The bad part about this tape is that, or this class is, I can't play any music because it's considered copyrighted material once it gets on YouTube. So you guys, I keep forgetting to say this, but you can always play your own music. Pick something that you like so you don't have to hear me breathing. Round forward. We're going to keep that round spine. Take it back down. So as you're coming up, feel your spine just sort of peeling off of the mat, one bone at a time. And the rest pushes down. Squeeze the legs together. That does help. And then we're going to go back. Let's do a little pause here. So work your way down to the mat. Let your arms come up overhead to the floor if that feels comfortable. If that's too much, you can hover them. So guys, we're going to turn this into teaser now. So there's a part where when we're doing our roll up, you feel the legs want to lift up off the mat. Let them lift off this time. So we're going to come right up into teaser. So the arms come up. We start to lower them. We start to round ourselves up. And then when you feel the legs come up, I want you to reach, reach, reach. Now take your arms up to the ceiling. Take them out to the sides. We're going to bring them to the low part of our legs and hold on at our ankles. Or if you're at your calves, that's okay too. So just going to try and sit real tall. Press your legs out into your arms and your arms into the legs. That's going to give you a little more stability. And then we're going to straighten the right leg and bend it. Nice. And then the left. Straighten and bend. Let's try the right again. If you need a little time out and need to put your feet down on the mat, that's okay. Sometimes this works, sometimes not. Let's try both. Okay, so use your arms and legs pressing into each other for some resistance. See if you can lengthen your spine there. Now we're gonna bring the legs together, bring the feet to the mat, straighten out the legs and follow the legs down with your body. And you're gonna hold on wherever your hands land. Let your heads be heavy, so we're getting that nice stretch again. And then release where you're holding. Bring your hands to the mat, roll it up, and roll the shoulders. Okay, so we're gonna let our right leg bend and bring it in toward our chest. We're gonna do that stretch we did at the beginning of class, where we take the opposite arm, left arm, reach around, twist. And then untwist, Switch legs, reach around, lift tall, rotate. And then back to center. Okay, so I wanna kind of do some sequencing that leads us into the single leg stretch. We're gonna start here from a seated position. We're gonna roll back a little bit. So the cores are engaged. We've got that little roll under of the hips. We're gonna bring the right leg in and let both hands reach for the right shin. We're gonna point the left foot, and then we're gonna switch. We're gonna slide and slide. So I'm gonna keep the toes on the mat, but they're light. They stay nice and light. So this is the movement for when we do the single leg stretch. And the rest of our bodies stay still. Our spines are curved, the bellies are pulled in. And then we just pull that other leg in. So see if you can start pulling the bent knee a little closer to your body while you're curling back. So we've got the ab work going. Now we're gonna keep the left leg extended, the right leg in, and we're gonna go back a little farther. So find a spot that you can hold, you know you're working, and let's do 5 sets here. 5, keep your hips still. They're tucked under. 4 and 3, keep breathing. Keep the left leg out, bring the right knee in. Now we're going down to flexion. Feel your chest reach to the leg. Feel the leg reach to the chest. Use your arms. We're gonna keep our flexion here. We're gonna hover our left leg. And now we're gonna go 10 sets, guys. Go 10, 9. Okay, freeze. Left leg extended, right knee in. Hands go behind the head. We're gonna keep going with the legs. 10 more sets. Okay, both knees in, feet to the mat, stretch the legs out, take your shoulders, your head down, reach your arms overhead. Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm gonna try a roll up. We are all gonna try a roll up. Squeeze the legs together. Whatever hand position you think will allow you to make it up. Let's reach for the ceiling. If you started back, start to lower, bend your spine, press down into the mat, round it up, and reach. Now from this rounded position, let your arms start to raise towards your ears, and then you're gonna straighten your spine out on a diagonal, looking for that upper back extension. Stack your hands, put them back behind your head. Lift up here with a long, long, long spine. Push your head back into your hands. We're gonna hinge back a little and then come forward. You're not gonna go very far, right? We don't wanna strain our backs. Keep them nice and long, just a little hinge. 2 more. Good job. Hinge it back and hold. Now we're gonna roll our hips under, and then we're gonna come forward and up. Hinge first, hold, roll the hips under, pull those low abs in, and then curl forward and up. Okay, I feel my arms starting to press my head forward. So I'm gonna take a second and push back into my hands. Hinge, roll, come forward and lift. We're gonna do 2 more. Keep that connection back behind your head. The hinge is first, then we roll. And then we come up. Last time, hang on guys. Hinge, roll, come forward, lift the spine, arms to the ceiling, and then bring them in front, about shoulder height. We're rolling all the way back. Pull the belly in, place your spine on the mat, bone by bone. And then bring them up and over for a stretch. And then arms come to the ceiling, and then to our sides. We're gonna roll onto our sides for a side leg sequence. So stack your hips, extend your arm, and lay your hand, lay your head on your arm, or you can bend your arm and rest your head here. We're stacking our hips, stretching our top leg, press your bottom leg down, raise your top leg, flex at the ankle, and point, and flex and point. 1 more, flex and hold. We're gonna squeeze down, point and lift. Flex lower. Press your bottom leg into the mat. Nice and steady. Get 2 more. Don't forget your core. Stay zipped up. Okay, we're going to take our top leg to hip height. We're going to bring that leg forward, and we're going to rotate so the knee and the toe are pointing down to the mat. And then we're going to tap and lift and tap and lift. Keep it stretching. I'm trying to stay straight at my knee. Got 2 more. Now take that leg back to hip height. We're going to untwist it. Bend your bottom leg. And now that top leg, we're going to bring it forward even more. We're going to stay flexed at the ankle. And then we're going to lower down like that. And raise. So reach out of the heel. Got 3 more. Stretch to lift. Push your bottom leg down. And then one more time. Lower all the way to the floor. We're going to bend the knees, match them up, roll onto your back. That working leg, lift it, cross that ankle over the opposite thigh, and let the hip rotate out. Arms are along our sides. Try to relax your face. Now press into the foot that's on the mat. Lift your hips up. Get a little bit more of a stretch for that hip there. And then we're going to roll back down. Uncross your legs, straighten them out, and then roll to your opposite side, or else swing it around. Okay, let's set that up again. Stretch it out, top hip reaches away. Get nice and long. Bottom leg presses down into the mat. And we're going to lift the top leg up. A little pause here, try not to rotate at the hip. And then let's do that flex point again. Reach through the heel. So get a nice big range of motion on the ankle. Ooh, good crack. And they're going to flex at the ankle, lower down. Point left. Reach out of the heel. One more. The top leg is going to come to hip height. Keep the flexion. At the ankle, we're going to take it forward a little bit. Get your balance again if you need to. I almost rolled backwards. Okay, so you're going to rotate so the knee and the toe point down. And then we're going to tap and lift. Keep the rotation up at the hip, not just at the ankle. One more time. Okay, go to hip height, untwist. We're going to bend our bottom knee, take the leg forward, and we're going to keep it in this orientation. And then we're going to lower all the way to the floor and raise. So find a range of motion that's going to keep you still here. Not too much pressure with that top hand. Almost there. One more time. Okay, bring it all the way to the floor. Bend the knees, match them up, roll onto your back. That working leg is going to lift. We're going to cross the ankle over the opposite thigh and then open out. Arms along our sides again. Just focus on the stretch in the knee, bringing the pelvis into neutral. That's going to be a little, I said knee, but I meant hip. Stretching the hip. Careful of the knee. Pelvis in neutral. Okay, press into your foot that's on the mat. Lift up. Stretch the hips. And then roll it back down. Bring your knees into your chest. And get a side rock. Okay, guys, we're going to do one more set of abs set of an ab sequence, and then we're gonna flip it over, do some back extension, then we'll finish up. Let's leave our right knee in toward our chest, stretch our left leg out along the floor, and take the right leg toward the ceiling, getting a nice hammy stretch. Let the shoulders come down toward the mat. Now flex at the ankle, heel to the ceiling. And then release that. We're gonna do a scissor sequence here. So our chest lift. We lift our chest toward the leg. We bring the leg toward the chest. Hover the bottom leg. Shoulders are down. We're going to do one slow switch because I want to get a nice stretch in the hammies in the other leg. Left leg is up. We're stretching. Let's do a flex point here. Hold it. Then point. And now we scissor for 10 sets. 10. 9. Keep breathing. 8. Let's get that left leg back up. Now our hands are going to come back behind our heads. Support your head with your arms. Rotate toward the lifted leg, the left. And we're going to scissor 10 sets. And crisscross 9. One more each leg. Okay, stay in flexion. Come to tabletop. Let your right toe come down to the mat. Rotate toward the left knee. And we go 10. And 9. If the rotation is too much, just stay in the center. 7. 6. Head and shoulders can go down to the mat too if you want. And 4. 2. One more each leg. Hang on. Okay, feet all the way down. Head and shoulders all the way down. Okay, arms out to your sides. Stretch them way out. We're gonna bring our knees to the floor on the left and let our heads rotate to the right. Faces back to center, knees through center to the floor on the right, and heads turn to the left. Big stretch. We're gonna bring our faces back to the center. Raise your left arm up and roll over onto the right side and then all the way over onto your belly. So we're gonna go into an upper back extension sequence. So let's bring our arms along our sides, bring our foreheads to the mat. Pelvis anchors into the mat. Feel the belly button lift up. Stretch your arms long along your sides. Let them hover up off the mat. Pull your fingers together. Squeeze the muscles of your arms and lift the chest. Try not to take it up into the neck and shoulders. Think of the chest just floating up as the arms reach away. And we're going back down. Let your arms come down. Bellies lift. Arms hover. Stretch the arms. Lift the chest. Back up. And then down. Foreheads to the mat. One more like that. Reach and stretch. Just tap into the muscles of the upper back. Try to stay out of the low back. The muscles will engage in the low back, lumbar spine there, but you don't want that to be the main focus. We're thinking kind of shoulder blade area. Okay, back down. Bend your arms. Put your hands flat on the mat. Bring your elbows to the mat and slide them down towards your hips. Belly buttons lift. Lift the chest. Keep your elbows down on the mat initially. So similar to what we just did. And then we're going to use our arms for an assist. So we continue to lift the chest and then add in the arms. Remembering it's not a push-up. Try to stay out of the tops of the shoulders. And then we come back down. Rib cage and forehead. Let's do that one more time. Belly buttons lift. Pubic bones anchor. And then up. And we go. I'm pressing into my fingertips too to take some of that work out of my wrists. And then back down. Forehead to the mat. Legs pulled together. Hands move back a little. We're going to press back into child's pose. So an active child's pose stretch. Bring your hips down to the heels. Bring your chest down to the legs. Walk the arms way out in front of you. So let the shoulders come up toward your ears this time. Just getting a nice stretch. Take a couple deep breaths, feeling your back expand, because we're kind of compressing the front of our body with our legs. So direct the breath into your backs. Now we're going to lift up our chests. Take the left hand off the mat, and then the right for our side flexion. Bring your chest back down to the legs, stretching that right side. Breathing into the right lung, expanding the rib cage on the right. And then the chest lift up again. Come through center. Off the mat to the right. Chest come down. Stretching into the left side. Get a little more distance between the left hip and the left underarm, bending away. Fill up the left lung. Expand the rib cage on the left. Lift up your chest. Come through center. And then back down into child's pose. Rest your head however you want. You can bring it all the way to the mat. You can stack your hands. Okay, we're going to shift our weight forward. Bring your hands to the mat. Spread out your fingers and thumbs. Set your knees right under your hips. Roll the shoulders back, push away from the mat. Let your arm muscles engage here. Lift up your feet, flex at the ankles, wiggle your toes a little bit, and then tuck the toes under. So we're gonna get a big stretch underneath where the toes and the foot come together. Hit the ball of the foot, so just press it down and stretch. Now we're gonna push into our fingertips and our toes, and we're gonna hover our knees. Core stay engaged. Backs are nice and long. Try not to let the heads droop down. Muscles are active. Start to shift your hips back toward your heels. Start straightening your legs. Press your chest toward the legs. Let your head come right between your arms. Lift the tailbone. Come up to the tippy toes. Back down. And let's go one more time. Lift. And back down. We're going to walk our feet to our hands. Walk them in. Hold this stretch here. Let your head hang. Take a big breath, fill your back. Now we lift our bellies, round our backs, roll up, restack our spines, take the arms out to the sides, extend your back, raise, and then come back to center, roll your shoulders. Okay, thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I hope you had a good class, and I look forward to seeing you next week.